Did you ever notice that we're taught to avoid conflict and then we wonder, like, why the fuck are we feeling so empty? Well, in War and Warriors, the 10th chapter of Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche, that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about the idea of being a warrior in your own personal life, how war and conducting war, not in a violent way, or at least not always in a physical violent way, will make you feel much more wholesome and meaning in life. How Edward Snowden, a guy who used to make $200,000 a year working for the NSA, married to his wife, or at least engaged to his wife, living in Hawaii, living his best life, decided to become a warrior, snitched on the NSA mass surveillance, had to move to Hawaii because he was chased by the US. When asked if he would do it again, he said absolutely yes every fucking time. Why is becoming a warrior and why is using violence in your own life will save you and make you feel wholesome? Stay tuned. Nietzsche opens up the chapter with this amazing quote: "If you cannot be saints of knowledge, at least be its warriors. They are the companions and forerunners of such sainthood." He's basically telling us, if you cannot be a person of knowledge and wisdom and intelligent and, let's say, high spiritual level of violence, then at least you have to become a warrior. And it makes a lot of sense, because if you cannot write books and you cannot use words to make your conduct of war and to change the ideas of other people, at least you have to fight for those ideas and use violence for those ideas, right? Not only in the matter of the wholesome society, also in the matter of yourself. Because the warriors of Nietzsche are not people who fight. It's not the UFC fighters, it's not the soldiers, the 18-year-old soldiers who go to die in the field of Afghanistan or Palestine or whatever. A warrior is each and every one of us, at least should be each and every one of us. It's fighting for your ideas, fighting for your will, fighting for your thought, fighting for the things that you think that are matter, not necessarily for the wholesome of society, but also, as I said, for your personal life. And I think a great example for two great examples, one for his own life and one for the masses, is Jose Andreas and Steve Jobs. I'm sure you heard the second name, not too sure you heard the first one. Jose Andreas is a guy who has 2 Michelin star restaurant. He probably could have been the next Gordon Ramsay or whatever. He could have been the greatest chef ever, or maybe one of the greatest chefs ever, and just keep in continuing his livelihood as a chef. But when the Ukrainian-Russian war arose, he decided to not just write a Twitter, "I'm with Ukraine," I'm with Ukraine, or invite Zelensky to a Michelin star restaurant and give him free food and make a podcast with him talking about the war and the difficulty of the Ukrainian. The motherfucker flew to the fucking border between the Ukrainian and Russian countries and fed thousands, if not tens of thousands, of immigrants and people who escaped Ukraine in order to live a better life. Or people that the soldiers over there. He was there for months, living in a tent. The guy had a 2 Michelin star restaurant and he decided to cook food for the people. That's a real warrior. Now again, you can also be a warrior from the other side, like Steve Jobs. The guy worked 16 hours a day in order to pursue his idea of developing the iPhone. Like it or not, think it's a great idea or not, doesn't matter. The guy fought for his own ideas, and as you can clearly see, ever since Steve Jobs died, the vision of Apple died with it, and there's no more Apple besides iPhone and the Mac. Everything stays the same, right? The next iPhone is exactly the same iPhone over and over and over. Now, the thing with warriors is not that it's something that you really choose to become. Jung also talked about it. Carl Jung is a student of Nietzsche, of Freud. The shadow side, or at least as Nietzsche portrays it, the warrior has always to come and look forward to life and be outside of yourself. And Nietzsche has a great quote for it where it says, "You cannot be peaceful unless you have a bow and arrow. Otherwise, you will babble and quarrel. Let your peace be your victory." If you don't have a way of fighting, if you don't have a tool to wage war, you will always complain, and you will always bitch, and you will always live a life without meaning because you feel that your life has no meaning out of yourself. Because you're basically living a life where people are conducting and forcing you to do things that are not yourself. So the second that you have a way to wage war, all of a sudden life has, so to speak, your own meaning. And a great example for that is Malala. If you haven't heard about her, I'm not going to say her first name because I'm going to look stupid because it's a Arabic name, but she is a girl that was shot in the head by the Taliban, like literally shot in the head, because she was trying to make the Taliban understand that women can also be educated. Instead of staying, of course, in the place, she had to escape to London with her family. She survived. So, yeah, like if it wasn't clear, she survived and she went to London. Now, instead of coming and saying we need to find peace with the Taliban, we need to understand their values, we need to understand they're coming from a dark era and they need to be lightened. Or on the other hand, instead of saying we need to revenge the Taliban, kill all the terrorists, whatever, she fought for the idea that she got shot in the head for. Not from a place of revenge, like killing all the Taliban, and not from a place of peace, like let's be with peace with the Taliban and understand their values. She still educates women about free schooling. She still talks about the problems that are there in the Taliban, even though she got shot in the head. Right? She's a warrior for her own ideas. Now, on the other side, also Elon Musk, right? The guy is, if not the not maybe not the most, but one of the most egocentric capitalist pigs there is in the history of the world, not even in the modern history. But the guy fights for his ideas. Every idea that he says is not an idea of making just pure money. His ideas are actually, at least according to him, contributing to the world. They're not just ideas like Rockefeller is just a oil god or like Buffett was just a investing god, right? He's doing something again, for him, very useful for humanity. Whether it's SpaceX, whether it's X, right, like the Twitter, whether it's Tesla, whether it's PayPal, whether it's the Boring Company, he's always trying, again, according to him, to improve humanity and to prove what we're doing because he's fighting for his own ideas. Love him, hate him, doesn't matter. He's a warrior. A warrior can be also like Malala, and a warrior can be also like Musk, as we talked before with Steve Jobs and Andreas. Another great quote I want to share with you, and that's going to be very quick, just an anecdote, because it's a quote that reminds me of Fight Club, right? You haven't watched, I'll put a very, very, very interesting video here that explains the relationship between Thus Spoke Zarathustra and Fight Club. It's like half an hour video, but it's absolutely fascinating. Where he says, "Are you ugly? Well then, my brothers, wrap yourselves in the sublime, the mental of the ugly." Just for an anecdote, it's like I said before, if you cannot wrap yourself with intelligence, at least be a warrior, it's the same here. If you're ugly and that's all you know what to do and you only know how to become a fighter, so be it. Become a fighter. Not only that, embrace it fully and be yourself a fighter in every sense of your living. Because if that's what you are, fuck it. What can you do, right? Now, I always like to talk about my personal stories and my personal living because I think that it will help you understand much deeper into my ideas, and I think it will help you see my personal stories and my personal living because I think that it will help you understand much deeper into my ideas, and I think it will help you see much deeper what I'm thinking, and that will help you to understand Nietzsche. I hope so, at least better. When I was 15 years old, I want to say, it was the first time where my thought of not going to the army arose. I was thinking, should I go to the army, should I not go to the army? And it was a very big question within myself because my father has been a captain in the army and my sister has been a captain in the army. And all my family has been to the army. My cousin is already there for 10 years. It's a very big thing in Israel and in my family specifically. And I didn't want to go. It wasn't for me. It's still not for me. I don't regret any second of not going to the army. I think it was the best decision I've made in my life. But back then, it was a very difficult decision. And I remember thinking, I'm going to go to the army only for my parents because I want my parents to be proud, because I want to be part of the family, because I want them to be, looking at me with coming from home with a M16 and being the happy soldier that I am with blah, blah, blah. And as I grew older, especially when I started reading Nietzsche and Marx and a bit of Tolstoy and all of those philosophers' literatures, I understood that living life that way will only make me suffer and will not only make me unhappy, will ruin my life completely. I think that it might be a very big idea going to the army or not going to the army, at least for me, at least for Israelis, but it doesn't have to be that big. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be everything. It can be literally, should I I don't know, should I tell my friend he can come to my house and sit with me for a beer today, even though I don't have energy? It could be everything. Live your own life and control your own life by the thoughts that you think are correct, not from a way of egoism. Well, of course, from a way of egoism, but not from a way of bad egoism, like I don't care about anyone else. But from a way of I conduct my own living because I'm fighting for my own life, because I'm saying yes to life. For the closing of this chapter, I want to one challenge you and one say something important. Look through your life, look through your day, look through your month, your last year, your whatever. When was the last time that you fought for yourself, not from a way of, oh, today I'm gonna eat a salad instead of a hamburger or whatever. Not this kind of, like an actual meaningful thing that you done. When was the last time you opened a business? When was the last time you bought a course? When was the last time you broke up with your girlfriend? When was the last time you told your parents that you feel uncomfortable with something that they did to you? When was the last time you did something meaningful in your life that was for your own personal war? And the second thing I want to say is don't be an asshole. You don't have to fight everything. There's some things that are meant to be peaceful. There's some things that are meant to be waged on, because life cannot always be war. Choose your wars, they say, right? And it's completely true. If your girlfriend annoys you and you love her very much and it's just something she did every now and then fuck it. Let her annoy you. So what the fuck? So you create the tension just by accepting that's how it is. Some things, of course, you cannot. Yeah, again, choose your wars wisely. Don't be this kind of person that always fights. But another important anecdote is, if you are not a fighter and you never fought, fight everything on purpose just to learn exactly how it is. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you can, please leave in the comments below what you think of this episode. Would you like to see more philosophers? How can I improve my chapters? I will be very happy, because I'm trying to look for new ways of creating content. I stopped for 3 months, as you can probably see for those of you who are following, because I felt like I'm just not doing the job done, but then I realized that I need to keep fighting. Thank you guys for watching.